So next, sixth paragraph. Dr. Ambedkar had a clear perception of the mutuality of the three pillars of the state. Okay, so it says like this. Dr. Ambedkar had a clear perception. Okay, he had a clear perception, okay, of the mutuality of the three pillars of the state. What are those three pillars? Legislature, executive, and judiciary. Okay, so let us know these lines. So here it says that Dr. Ambedkar had a clear perception. What is the meaning of perception? Means that what he had drafted. It means he had a clear perception. It means he had a clear idea, okay, about what he had drafted. It means blueprint. Otherwise, first copy of the constitution. It means drafting constitution. Okay, so he had a clear perception about the mutuality. Mutuality means interconnection. So he had a clear picture of the mutuality, that means interconnection of the three pillars of the state. So he had a clear idea about the mutuality, that means interdependence of the three pillars of the state. What are those three pillars? Legislature, executive, and judiciary. Okay, I think you all understood. He had a clear picture about the interconnection of these three pillars of the state. And you also know that what is legislature? Legislature is that makes the law, that frames the law. And executive is that one who executes the law. And judiciary, you know that where it protects the law. Okay, judiciary protects your law and also gives the correct judgment. Okay, so Ambedkar had a clear picture of the interconnection of all these three pillars of the state. So, B.R. Ambedkar knew the proper connection, that means mutuality between these two, that means these three things. And it was very easy for him to make the constitution because he laid the provision, that means he had laid the provision for all these three pillars of the state. And he also had made it clear what is the right of the legislature, what is the rights and powers of the executive, and what is the power of and functions of the judiciary. Since he had made it clear, okay, since he had the perception, that means a clear view about what is the rights and powers and functions of all these three organs, okay, and he also had made it clear to them that these people, that means the legislature, should not interfere in the work of the executive, and executive do not interfere in the work of the legislature. That means everybody have their own office, that means they have their own powers and functions, okay, and also they have to do their work. That means he specify, that means what is the powers and functions of all these three organs very clearly in the provisions, and these people need not to interfere in any of their work, but all the three have to work together in order to maintain law and order. So this clear picture, that means a view or opinion about the three pillars of executive had made, it means had a clear picture of all these things, had made it very easy for him to draft the constitution. So that's the meaning of this. So he had a clear perception of the mutuality, that means between interconnection between these three organs. So this made him to draft the constitution very easily. Next line, okay, he realized that the jurisdiction of each should be clear and untrammeled. So what is the meaning of untrammeled? Not restricting anyone of their basic right they get. So since Dr. Ambedkar clearly mention what is the right of the each organ. And when he knew that all this while drafting the constitution, he said that every citizens, at the same time he had a sense of importance of the role of citizens. So since he had made it clear all these things, he also knew that every citizen has the role to play in the making of the constitution. Okay, I think you all understood. Since he had given the picture of these three organs of organization very clearly, and he had the view of those things, it made very easy for him to understand, that means to draft the constitution of India. And he also knew that while drafting the constitution, that even every citizen has the role to play in the making of the constitution. So that is the meaning of this line. So next line we'll see, it says like this: Constitution is a fundamental document. What is fundamental? Basic. So Constitution is a fundamental document, means basic for the happening of the state. Okay, it is a document, it's a book which defines the position and the power of the three organs of the state. What are those three organs? The legislature, executive, judiciary. So here this line, it says that it clearly defines what is the power of the executive, what is the power of the legislature, okay, what are the power of the judiciary. Okay, so it tells about the what is the position of the executive and what is the position of the executives in the law, and what powers they have, and what powers do the judiciary, that means the judges, have, what kind of law that they have to follow, and what are the different positions that they have in the judiciary. So the constitution defines everything. So it is a book which contains about all these details. It defines the position and the power of the three organs of the government, and it also defines what is their power, what is their position, and what is the power of the judges. That means where they stand, what law that they have to follow, what are the different positions that they have in the judiciary. All these things it has been defined. And the next line, it says that okay, it also defines the power of the executive, power of the legislature as against the citizen. So it means that they also have to have some control. That means that these three organs, they all should have their control. They cannot just impose any kind of law on the, that means any kind of law that comes in their way on the individuals, because it affects the well-being of the people. So it says that it defines the power of the executive, power of the legislature as against the citizens. That means they cannot impose their law. That means they cannot take the things according to their decision and control the people, because that will affect the well-being of the people. Okay, the next line says, in fact, the purpose of the constitution is not just to create the organs of the state, but also to limit their authority. Whose authority? That is the authority of the executive. So what happens if you do not restrict, that means if you do not control the powers and the functions of the three organs of the government, that means the powers of the legislature, executive and the judiciary, it will lead to, that means if you do not impose restriction on these three organs, that will lead to tyranny and complete oppression. So I think you understood. So this paragraph tells that Constitution is not only creating the organs of the constitution, but also tells them that what is their limit. Okay, that is what is the limit of the authorities, and what happens if you do not control their authority, or if they do not have a guidelines, what would happen to the people in the society. So if they do not have a guidelines, and if we do not restrict their authority, what will happen? They will do according to their needs and satisfaction. And if they go beyond the limit, so what happen? It will affect the well-being of the society. So Here they're trying to say that constitution is not only create the organs, but also it says that there is only one thing you have to do, that is you have to limit the authority, and if you do not control the limit of the authority, they will go further and cause affect the society, and there is no limitation. What would happen? There will be a complete tyranny and oppression. So tyranny means a cruel, bad functioning of the government. So if you do not control the authorities, it means the limit of the authority, then it will leads to tyranny. That means it leads to the cruel, bad functioning of the government, and further it leads to oppression. Oppression means that limiting the basic needs of the common people. So that's the thing it explains. Okay, paragraph it says like this: Jawaharlal Nehru chose Dr. Ambedkar to be the first law minister of independent India. So when we got independence, as you all know, Jawaharlal Nehru became the first prime minister. So soon after he became the first prime minister, he chose Dr. Ambedkar as the first law minister of independent India. So why did he choose him as a first law minister? Because he recognized, that is Jawaharlal Nehru recognized Dr. Ambedkar's skill in the field of law and legislation. Okay, so he chose him as a first law minister because he observed, that means he observed the skill in the field of law and legislature. Okay, legislation means lawmaking. Okay, he observed the skill in the field of law and legislation. So that is one of the aspect. And secondly, he chose him as a first law minister because as a tribute. What do you mean by a tribute? A tribute means a gift. Okay, tribute means a gift. Okay, intended to show, okay, gratitude or respect. Okay, so Jawaharlal Nehru chose Ambedkar as the first law minister of the independent India. Why? Because Nehru recognized Ambedkar's skill in the field of law and legislation, and also as a tribute, as a kind of gratitude or as a kind of a respect to the vision of social justice. That means he had a vision to establish a society, that means an equal society, that means a society with the equality. So he chose him because of his vision. Okay, he had a vision to establish, okay, society on the equality. Okay, so because of his vision on the social justice. And thirdly, a vision which was sought to be infused into the Indian politics. That means he had a vision of social justice, right? And he wanted to infuse, that means fill, that means he has to practice this principle of justice, social justice in the Indian politics, that means in the administration of the state. Okay, and he wanted to, okay, thirdly, he wanted to infuse, okay, infuse into the new Indian polity. Okay, I think you all understood. He wanted to make him as a first law minister. That he chose him as a first law minister because he had a skill in the field of law and legislature, and also he had a vision, that is Ambedkar had a vision to establish a society, that means a society based on equality, and he wanted, that is Ambedkar wanted to infuse, it means fill in, that means practice this principle in the Indian politics, that means in the administration of the state. And also as a tribute to the success of Baba Saheb Ambedkar's campaign against social injustice. Okay, he had held a campaign against the social injustice. So as a tribute to the campaign, okay, as a tribute to the campaign against social injustice. Okay, so because of all these factors, Jawaharlal Nehru chose him as a first law minister. Okay, he had a skill in the field of law and legislation. He had a vision for a social justice. It means he wanted to establish a society on the basis of equality, and he wanted to implement this principle in the new Indian politics, and also has a tribute to his success in the campaign, okay, against the social injustice. So on these factors, okay, keeping these factors in mind, he had appointed, it means he had chosen him as a first law minister. And Jawaharlal Nehru also had knew that if he had made him as a law minister, that means through the laws he can make a that means he can bring a social justice in the society. And next line it says that who could have dreamt that one born to a Mahar family, okay, who could have dreamt that one born to a Mahar family would one day become not only a law minister but a lawmaker and be hailed as a modern Manu. So this paragraph says that, okay, the Ambedkar born in a Mahar family. Mahar family means it is a family that is found in Maharashtra, and they are considered as, that is this Mahar family, they are considered as a scheduled caste. Okay, so here this line it says that nobody had dreamt that Ambedkar, who had born in the scheduled caste, or that is from the Mahar family, would one day become one of, that means a famous law minister of that means one day a law minister and also lawmaker, that is the architect of the Indian Constitution.